Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ties That Bind DFW podcast. I'm your host, Amber Monroe, and my goal is to foster unity within the community by sharing stories that inspire hope, passion, and resilience. In a world that focuses so much on the divisiveness of social media and not everything you see is authentic, I'm here to bring the real. The views and opinions of my guests do not necessarily reflect those of myself or the Ties That Bind DFW podcast. All right, let's get into it. Guys, I am so excited to have on a friend of mine. We met back in several years ago, and she was in a pageant, and I was doing hair and makeup, and we kind of connected. This was a while back. This was about good 14, 15 years ago. Think about when my oldest was a baby. And I am so excited to have Miss Patara Williams on today. We are going to be talking about her coffee launch, her business that she and her family are running here in the DFW. And I've been there, and it's an excellent spot. And yeah, we're just going to talk to her today about her process. And I'm just so proud of everything that she has done and is doing. Welcome, Patara. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, Amber. It's so good to see you. I'm glad we could reconnect. And thank you so much for having me here. Thank you. So yes, I am here to talk about Thrive Coffee. I am Patara Williams. I am not a DFW native, but Dallas-Fort Worth has always been home for me. It has a very special place in my heart. I grew up here in my teen years. I think that's when I first met Amber. And so I have kind of moved around and made my way back to Dallas-Fort Worth, and somehow, some way, fell right into entrepreneurship. By background, I am a healthcare administrator, and I have a health equity lens as well. And so I've been doing a lot of project management and a lot of people and culture work throughout life and operational work. And somehow coffee's always been consistent in my life. And so those long hours, those long days, coffee always was consistent for me. And so I always thought I'd invest in coffee in some way. I used to think it would be like $2 on one of those stock market situations, but plot twist.
Yeah, right. Awesome. That's so funny. Coffee's a big part of my life as well. And I think a lot of us. So I'm kind of curious, did you always want to be an entrepreneur? What was that process kind of like for you?
I don't think I never really envisioned it as looking forward to becoming an entrepreneur. I think one of the first things that I wanted to do was just be in healthcare. And that went from looking at the clinician lens to understanding health equity and wanting to impact policies and processes. And so going into healthcare as an administrator. However, I've always been a big ideas girl. So always, just ideating, and also became an informal advisor to a lot of friends. And I think it's just because I have a critical thinker lens and am pretty meticulous. And so, the foreshadowing and sort of like that risk mitigation kind of comes in. You have to think about all the things in the work that I was doing. And so, but I will say, most people will tell you that I used to say at retirement time, I'll open up a bakery. That's what I used to say. I'd open a bakery. Yes. So I knew it was somewhere in there. It's just that life lifed and came quicker than I assumed. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Life do be lifing. So what kind of, process brought you into the, opening of y'all's coffee shop? What did that look like? Coming from a standpoint of, sort of kind of falling into it. How did that look for you guys? Because it's a family business. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
So I have a wonderful brother, an older brother, 5 years my senior. He is always wanted to be the entrepreneur. So he had these big ideas as a kid. Um, he was always thinking about like his own fashion line and always thinking about his own restaurants. And he developed a passion for coffee. I would say probably about 10 to 15 years ago. And his name's Patrick Ingram, and he's also here in the DFW. And the coffee shop Thrive Coffee is right in Kennedale, Texas, which is kind of hedged right there by Fort Worth area and Arlington area. But he's been in food and bev for as long as I could remember, even in his teen years. And he's always had a passion for community, and also he has a palate too. He has a very distinct palate and a creative palate as well. And I think that the stars sort of aligned. He used to always ask me if I would go into business with him. And I'd say, no, I'm focused on school. I'm focused on this. I'm focused on that. But when I tell you life's, I somehow made my way back here, and even working a full-time job, fell right into it. And he got the keys for a space in Kennedale, and then was like, "Hey, Patara, I'm opening a coffee shop." No, and I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt.
Wonderful. So you kind of swooped in and saved the day a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like, that's what You're like, that's the story I'm going with.
Yeah, I like to think of it as, so Patrick is a dreamer. He is 100% a dreamer, but we know that big ideas also have to be executed. We know that big ideas also need strategy, also need operations and systems. And I think that's where my gifts came in. And so a lot of my natural trajectory has led me to having transferable skills in systems and drawing up processes and being able to push the paperwork. And so he was able to bring that, all of the joy and the dream of a coffee shop. And we were able just to put the vision and the execute together. So.
Awesome. So it sounds like, if I'm hearing it correctly, you kind of bring the structure, a lot of the behind the scenes work. I'm going to assume financial, legal, promotion, advertising. Is that kind of the wheelhouse that you're working with in this situation?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. That's really great. Yeah. Everybody needs that in a business. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, I think, it's that. And then as a coffee drinker, even though I wasn't like, I couldn't make you a latte on day one at all. So it gave me room to really learn and really gain a respect for Patrick's craft and the craft of coffee. So, and the goal has been to really cross-train each other and, in the areas of business and the areas of baristaing. So, but more so systems and operations.
Okay, yes. No, that's neat. What kind of does that look like for you, working with family, working with your brother? Some people refuse to go into business with friends or family. But some people are successful with it, obviously. But what does that kind of look like for you? How is that dynamic, between, do y'all ever kind of butt heads about things?
98.7% of times we do. It's been a growth. It's been a growing journey. I will say that over the last year, I have gotten to know my brother on a more like in-depth level than I ever have. And they always say there's two major decisions you're going to make in your life: your partner and your business partner. And so,
touche.
Yes. And so yes, we do have our differences. We are totally different individuals. You're looking at a very type A person, very structured, and where there's chaos, I try to corral it. And so Patrick is a big ideas. I want to be creative. I want this. No risk considered. And it made me really loosen up. And I think what it's helping him do is really think about how to sustain in business. And you have to hit bumps. When you have to hit your own bumps. I've learned to allow him to experience his business and entrepreneurship journey, and then I also have a journey as well. And so it's a challenge. I do think it's a challenge because there are different dynamics when you're working with family. Like, it's already hard running a business. You also have to have psychological safety in any relationship. But on top of that, you also have to have an element of transparency. And I think when you go into any partnership with like already knowing someone, I think we also have our own preconceived notions about how people work or what they will do based on what we know about them. And I'd never worked with my brother ever. So I didn't know how he was in business, but I knew how he was as a sibling. And so I had to adjust my lens. And there were hard conversations. There were come to Jesus moments. There were disagreements, very loud disagreements. But we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It's interesting. I do find that, not that it can't cause some conflict, but I always feel like it's so good to have one person that is one way, or maybe I'm just saying that because my husband and I are complete opposites. I'm justifying it, after 22 years. But I always think it's good to have one person who's, the dreamer and, the big ideas person, and then one person to sit down and be like, no, look, this is how it needs to be. And this is how we're going to get it done. And it's good that, y'all are able to have that dynamic, despite the conflict that it causes. It sounds like y'all are very, good for each other in that respect. And yeah, also, I feel like I agree, you put people in a box, just based on the interactions that you have. But when you shift that dynamic of y'all's relationship, I can see how it can be like, oh, I did not know that. I did not realize that about this person. And it can be a fun learning experience. And I think that sounds like you're navigating it well. And, being able to be honest about what it is and just what it's going to look like for y'all. Kind of shifting gears a little bit, speaking of, I guess, conflict or things like that, would you say that there are any experiences in your life that maybe have prepared you for this endeavor?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything has. And I'm a faith-based person. And so I don't think any of this was a coincidence. I don't think at all. And I get chills thinking about it. But I definitely think that everything has really prepared me for this. If I hadn't come back to Dallas, Fort Worth from North Carolina, which was just a random occurrence. I didn't even move my stuff. Back to Dallas. I've been like, hey, I live in Dallas now. And so that's funny. But life had to align a certain way for me to, number one, eventually say, yes, Patrick, I'm willing to go into a business partnership with you, because I've been saying no my whole life. And
right.
And then also I had to be in a certain space and place mentally, willing to take risk, willing to do something big, because as a type A person, I'm sort of a risk averse person. Max is the moderate risk. So, if you tell me I'm gonna open up a business, I'm like, long term, is this sustainable? What are the numbers for this? My brain goes to a full business plan.
Right.
And it's so easy to just say no. So he really had to say, hey, I have the keys. Can you please, we're gonna do this. Otherwise it would have been, So, but everything did.
You might have overthought it a little bit.
Certainly would have. Yeah, definitely analysis paralysis. But I think I took a consulting lens sort of, and instead of building it from like my perspective of what I think a business should look like. My brother and his wife and I sat down, and I just gathered like information from them, like what did they want this to look like? What was their vision for a coffee shop? And along the way, it just aligned and ended up becoming a strong partnership.
Wow. I really love that, kind of how that came to be. My next question was going to ask, and you may or may not have an example of this, but would you say that there's any other person, situation, or business that maybe you looked at and you saw and thought, I'm definitely not going to do that in business? Like, is there any examples where you were taking notes in that respect?
Absolutely. And I think, and I don't know that I fully answered your previous question, but it does trickle back. A lot of that is like the project management aspect of me, and then also like just the business operations and business strategy.
Okay.
All of that's really what prepared me for this. So being in healthcare operations, business administration helped prepare me for this, because that's how I think now. I'm a very process-driven, strategic person. And so the first thing I'm thinking is market analysis. Who's out there doing what it is you're telling me you want to do? Who is, and how are they doing it? And is there a value proposition? Do people want whatever's in that cup? And how is what we're serving at Thrive different from what everybody else is serving in the DFW or in the nation? And so I really had to get to the crux of what Patrick's vision for his product was going to be, and the delivery of that product. And so, yes, and I kind of surveyed, and I am, like I said, I'm a coffee drinker. So outside of having opened the shop, I used to go on coffee tours. So I had my own syllabus for what made a good coffee. So I knew.
Okay.
A good coffee. And so I knew, and I knew immediately like what it was that was going to differentiate Thrive from the others. So.
Wow. Yeah. And it sounds like, what's that?
I said it's definitely his heart for community, though. It's definitely his intentionality and his heart for community.
I love that. Yeah, and that's so wonderful. And another reason that, I definitely wanted to spotlight your business and hit y'all's business together. And yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like too, having been in the medical field, having seen those you behind the scenes, it sounds like you've seen a lot and know quite a bit about how businesses are run. I was going to ask also, and it's kind of a broad, open-ended question, but like, what do you see for yourself? What does the future look like for you? You obviously got so much experience with helping to run businesses and launch businesses. What are you kind of looking towards the future for yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is one that I've been wrestling with a bit. And I think that it had to happen in order for me to get to this point. Like I said, I see when someone shares an idea with me or asks for help, I can see it like and visualize it from beginning to end immediately. And I think that my strength is being able to connect ideas, and a superpower is being able to launch those. And I do think that that's what I'm called to do. I think the future looks like consulting for me. It looks like supporting small business owners and helping them bring their ideas to execution. So I do think that's part of it. And I think there's this element that I've been coming across a lot lately, not only in the retail spaces where people need support, the small business retail spaces, but a lot of nonprofits, they also, they lack resources or the structure. And and a lot of times the founders are passionate people who may or may not have had the business acumen or the access to resources or the awareness of how to get those resources. And I've been doing a lot of advising in that area. And a lot of it's just, hey, like, what can I do to help you? And so I think that formalizing that, this consulting and business work that I've been doing, sort of informally / formally, I think
Right.
that's helping people get to their promised land.
Nice. I love that. And it sounds like obviously you know what you're doing. That's going to be amazing for you. And I, will always be a big supporter and, cheerleader for that. That sounds amazing. And it sounds like there's a lot of people that you would be able to help. And you seem to be pretty focused on that. That's amazing. And I'm like, again, I'm proud of you. I feel like you're my little sis, from all those years ago. Um, I guess second to last question I want to ask is, what would your advice be to anyone looking to, either go into business for themselves or, like with consulting, or what advice would you give to someone, maybe in your few years younger than you, kind of in your shoes?
Yeah. So if they're in my shoes, they're type A, and they probably are thinking about it and they won't do it. Do it. Just do it. Don't do the whole analysis paralysis thing. You will think yourself out of it, and you will have all the reasons to talk yourself out of it. If you're a dreamer and you're more type B, and not to, label like us, but there's a group of people who are more likely to be more impulsive. And so if you're more impulsive and you're gonna just do it, just consider the risk. Consider adding some structure. Find a mentor. Find someone who's done it already. You'd be surprised how easy it is to get access to information. People want to share their stories, honestly. Like, they want to help as well. And so if you are more likely to be impulsive and just open stuff all willy-nilly, just ask and like, do your due
to me.
Yeah. Awesome. Find community in it all. Just have balance, have some balance.
I love that. That is great advice. Very, very good advice. And yeah, there, people do tend to fall into types, and you know who to talk to. And I love that. Well, lastly, I would love to give you an opportunity to, share your website, share about your coffee shop, where you can be found, hours, anything you want to share. Go for it.
All right. Thrive Coffee. Come see us at 201 West. So Thrive Coffee is located in Kennedale, Texas, and we're right off of Kennedale Parkway. Kennedale is a small town, but it is right in the heart of the DFW, closer to the Fort Worth side. And we're on 201 West Kennedale Parkway. And we're across from the Chicken Express. But we would love to see you. We are open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're looking to expand those hours. However, you also, if you just love the space, a lot of people have started to rent it out for venues. I just want to plug that if you see the green and gold, Sick 'em Bears. So,
all right.
Alma mater. So awesome. that's tip of my hat to our Baylor Bears out here in Texas. And so yes. And we would love to see you. You'll probably be greeted by Patrick, possibly myself. You'll always see family around. So it is a very, very open, welcoming community. If you love coffee, great. We have something for you. If you don't even love coffee, we have something for you. So we have all types of refreshers and teas, and we're trying different things too. So Patrick just rolled out a burger. So I'm interested to see and taste it soon. Yeah, so we have a pilot. We're piloting a cheeseburger right now around lunchtime. And of course, it may not pair with the coffee. However, we have tons of different refreshers, especially our spring and summer refreshers. So I would say try one of the brown sugar lemonades and some of the teas if you're not a coffee lover. Yes, we gotta get you the brown sugar lemonade. And the
Yes.
matcha. The matcha
Okay.
too. I love matcha, so
Okay.
have that too.
Yeah.
Come see us
I
though.
was also gonna say, yes, yes. There's also in the area, there's a beautiful park, like right behind, just a little short walk, like a 1 minute walk. It's a beautiful area. You can get your coffee, go play with your kids, because I already have been there. I'm gonna go again. So I just wanted to plug that real quick also. It's just a great experience to come out and see. And so what is either your website or your Facebook, Instagram? Is it just Thrive Coffee? How can
Yes,
everyone
so
find you?
follow us, like us, subscribe, all the things. And so
Okay.
we are Thrive Kennedale, so that's Kennedale on Instagram and also on Facebook. We do not have like an official website per se, but if you find us on Google, you can leave a review. You'll see pictures that a lot of the community members have posted and things like that if you do a Google search of Thrive Coffee in Kennedale.
Excellent, excellent. And I will, when I post this on different platforms, I'll put your link for everything in each post. And yeah, so thank you. um, and thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I know that you're traveling and you've had a crazy few weeks. Thank you for your time to talk to me and my listeners. Again, I'm loving watching you, everything you're doing. I'm proud of you. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the space to share and tell the story of Thrive.
You're very welcome. And so ends another episode of the Ties That Bind DFW podcast. Please stay tuned for our next episode and be blessed. Bye.